What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American, here today to react and continue learning about British things that are very weird. Part 2, if you haven't seen Part 1, feel free to check that out, or stay right where you are for some weird stuff. But in Part 1, there was some weird stuff. I tell you, we learned about how British people have trouble saying goodbye on the phone. It's very endearing, honestly. Like, they have to say goodbye, bye, like a million times before it's kind of okay. British people, when at restaurants, when they are customers interacting with the service industry, British people seem to be much more polite. That's funny. That is weird in comparison to Americans, who are quite rude to service people, unfortunately. So you could call that weird in a really good way for British people. What else do we have here? Swans? Something about swans breaking people's arms? I don't know what's going on out there in Britain, but apparently swans are grabbing people, breaking your arm. Kind of scary, if you ask me. And there was something about signing emails with sincerely at the end being code for actually like F you, which is, I really hope that's not how it is in the United States, or I've made grave errors throughout my life, and there are quite a few people I can never speak to again. But with that being said, I'm very excited to continue this list today and learn about even more fascinating, weird stuff that British people do, that has to do with British culture. So with that being said, let's take a look.
If you and another person are waiting to be served at a bar, you must each claim that the other person was next in line to be served when approached by staff.
Wait a minute. If you and another person are waiting at a bar, you must each claim the other person was next in line. Wait, this is like another like super politeness thing, I think? This process may involve several rounds of no use, and
This process may involve several rounds of no use and is resolved via unknown means.
This is another weird thing Brits do that's very nice. It's like such a pleasant thing. And honestly, again, I'm kind of sad to say this would be a strange behavior in the United States, where, for one thing, we're horrible at queuing, don't even know the meaning of queuing, and certainly are fighting over each other to try to look like we were next in line at the bar. There's no chivalry, there's no honor in regards to who gets served next at the bar. It's a dog-eat-dog world. So this is actually another weird thing from an American's point of view that I actually really admire, honestly.
Oh my goodness, this would happen to me. I could totally see this being a scenario into which I run someday and get stuck in for multiple years because me and the other person cannot decide.
Yeah. Oh, then it becomes like a standoff. That's the only drawback, is that many British people to this day are stuck at the bar right now, caught in an infinite loop of, no, you, go ahead, no, man, you're up next, no, you know. It's very polite, but you do it into your grave. Unfortunate.
To go
Just go back and forth.
for eternity.
We had a situation kind of like this. Well, it wasn't in the pub, but we were at a grocery store and we were in line, clearly, and this other gentleman seemed to be trying to cut us in line. Ooh. And then when they called the next person, I was going to advance because it was my turn, but then he did this, no, you, which then made me feel compelled to say, no, you.
Oh, no. See, I would never get stuck in this loop. Maybe that's the one benefit of the American perspective on this. It's like, no, loop ended. Someone's like, no, you. And I'm like, thank you. Don't mind if I do. And it's like, and maybe if I was in Britain, they'd be like, man, that guy's a jerk. But you know what? I'd be the jerk who's got my grocery items purchased quicker. So, ha!
To which he said, thank you, and then cut me in line.
Oh, no.
So, question for you guys. Is this a trick that some callous British people do, where they try to cut into the line by tricking someone else into no-youing them in front.
Wow.
It's like some
Never thought of it like that. Wow.
weird sort of gaslighting that makes you feel really like bad.
Exactly, it's gaslighting to get to the front of the queue. British beaches are often just banks of sharp stones by the water, and people here excitedly go to them on purpose. When you get there, you can buy disappointing candy sticks called rock, and seagulls will fight you.
I've never encountered a British beach. I've never heard of a description of a British beach. It's a bank of sharp rocks and stones. But people go there just because it's the beach and it's nice. And when you finally get good weather, it's like it doesn't matter if you're getting stabbed to death on your feet. We're going to the beach. Is that basically how it is? When you get there, you get candy sticks called rock. Candy sticks called rock. I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that. And seagulls fight you. At least you have a rock to like maybe pelt them back, I say, with your little candy stick.
Candy sticks called rock. Is that like the you have the stick and then it's like, you know, the crystals? We have that in the States too,
rock
Jessica.
Oh, rock candy? Oh man, I mean these two are acting like that's very common in the United States. That is like almost unheard of. I think that was common like 50 years ago. The rock candies on a stick? Okay, I vaguely know what they're talking about.
Come on!
Maybe she hasn't been to disappointing beaches. Which, you know, if you're from the Pacific Northwest, like we are, I think the vast majority of our beaches are very disappointing.
Is this accurate? Like it's very sharp rocks, might I say.
Yeah, very rocky, and the seagulls will also fight you there, so
Yeah.
got a little bit of that British spirit in them.
The water's always too cold to actually swim.
Oh man, so this is what beaches are like in Britain? I really do default to that image of a beach with sand, lush, beautiful sand and sandcastles and palm trees and crystal clear ocean. And the reality is there's probably a lot of coastline in lots of parts of the world that look just like this right here, which is technically a beach, but there God help you if you're trying to put out a towel and lie down on this.
True story. Whenever we went to the beach when I was a kid, they'd tell us you can go in the water, but this water is cold enough that if you're in it for, you know, however, like 30 minutes, you will get hypothermia, even during the summer. Britishes pronounce patronize as patronize, but pronounce patron in the expected way, and this divergence distresses me.
I see what they're saying here. So, British people, Britishes, is Britishes a word? Britishes pronounce patronize, patronized, but pronounce patron the expected way. This guy actually naturally says patronize, but I think maybe this has to do with the region of the United States you're growing up in. But I would say patronize for sure.
You did
Oh, so I must pronounce patronize the British way.
Patronize.
How do you say it?
Yeah, patronize, like many British things, sounds very fancy to me. Don't patronize me. It's like, that's how I know that's not the most common way of saying it in the United States. Patronize. We say it very annoying. Don't patronize me.
Patronize. Oh, I would say patronize.
You said it with a British accent too.
Don't patronize me, sir. I beg your pardon. Britishes call their fanciest private schools public schools, which is weird and confusing, likely by design.
By design. The fancy private schools are public schools? Yeah, in the United States, public school is like the default school open to the public? So I am confused by, like, what's up with this naming convention? I don't often say that the American way of doing it is correct, but in this circumstance, it's like, why would the fancy, private, closed-off, exclusive school be called public school?
I do think this is very confusing. If you have a school that is technically a private school and you call it a public school,
Yeah.
why do you do that?
Yeah.
Please, why beans on toast? There are so many other lazy foods that are actually good. Why is this a thing?
This is the most relatable, weird thing British people do. British things that are very weird. The beans on toast. Where did that start? Where did that begin? What's up with that? It's so incredibly random, coming from an American like me. I mean, what do Americans put on toast? Butter? Like, I don't... that's the only thing I can think of. Where did the beans come from? Does butter make any more sense? I'm trying to be objective here. I don't know. I think it's just personally, beans aren't a huge staple in American diets and American food. So beans kind of occupy this weird spot of like being a very random food to us. It's even like a funny word to Americans, like beans. It's like a funny word even. It has a silly association. So the fact that it's put on toast and eaten by Brits, you just never had a chance with the Americans. We're gonna think this is weird.
I would combat her on this one. I think beans on toast sounds delicious.
Yeah, I feel like this one is just Jessica pointing fun, taking the piss out of a stereotype.
This is a stereotype. This is like the food lots of Americans point to. I've never had it. Maybe it's good. Maybe that clears up all confusion, tasting it. And then you're like, oh, I get it. It's because it's good.
Because in the States, we actually have a lot of breakfast foods that have beans on them, especially anything that's Hispanic-inspired, Mexican-inspired foods. Lots of beans for breakfast.
I would not agree with that. I guess I don't eat lots of Mexican food for breakfast. I don't think most Americans do, to be honest. Most Americans are eating like bacon or pancakes or syrup. Or like a Nutri-Grain bar, cereal, you know, toast, eggs, not really beans. I would not agree with that.
So maybe Jessica's just not from the South or from a part of the States that eats a lot of beans.
People here put fish fingers. Yes, they mean fish sticks, but I'm fine with the name part. In sandwiches, which is just, why?
Fish fingers? Fish sticks. I've never heard of fish fingers. I've heard of fish sticks. No, I had no idea they go in sandwiches. That I understand more than beans on toast, to be honest. I don't know how this stuff works. I don't make the rules. That makes more sense to me. It's like a fish sandwich. Fish sticks in a sandwich, at least is something I could kind of wrap my brain around.
Yeah, we have talked about this in previous videos, how British people really like putting things in butties.
Butties?
Sandwiches is what we mean.
Yes.
Buddy is another word for sandwich in the UK.
Buddies? Butties or buddies? Never heard that. I didn't understand the joke here. That's another word for sandwich. How did that start? All right, we just go down this rabbit hole forever.
Is you just joining us? Would you like to put your fish finger in my butty?
Wait, do you call them chicken sticks or do you call them chicken fingers?
Chickens don't have fingers.
So, no, but she said, like, why in the UK do you call them fish fingers?
Fish don't have fingers either. What the hell? Bathroom sink faucet.
Most Americans would call them, I've heard chicken tenders, chicken fingers. Maybe when I was a child I heard that. Anyway, fish sticks is definitely a thing in the United States. What do we have here?
Faucets in the UK often have two separate... What the hell? Bathroom sink faucets in the UK often have two separate taps for the hot and cold water. Why? F you, that's why.
This is one I have come across before. I have heard of this. Do I remember why? It's very British. This is not at all ever occurring in the United States. It's because back in the day, like something about sanitation of the water or something. If that's not correct, I have no idea why, even though I've heard this.
This is something that definitely had us saying, what the hell, when we first arrived at the UK. We've mentioned it so many times on our channel, I probably should stop right now, but...
I actually thought this was kind of rare in the UK. Like that this was an older thing, like from older houses. Older buildings had double faucets. Is this actually fairly common? I actually didn't know that it was common. I just knew it was a thing. Wow.
Real quick, I'll say that we now understand that there is actually a really good reason for it, in that back in the day, the hot water tank, that wasn't drinkable water. And so the hot water line and the cold water line could never cross, because while you could drink the cold water, the hot water would kill you.
It is a sanitation thing. Okay, I thought I remembered that.
So you had to keep those separate with the 2 separate taps. Couldn't have them coming out of a mixer tap. Now, of course, that issue is resolved. So I don't know why in hell British people go and build houses and install new plumbing and then put in the 2 separate taps.
Wait, this actually exists in modern housing? New buildings in the UK? I didn't think that was... I didn't know that. I mean, honestly, it's kind of cool because it is very unique. Also, at the same time, probably kind of pointless. Is it, at this point, just to, like, everyone in the UK is used to it, everyone's cool with it, so why change it kind of thing?
Because we have been in new houses that have 2 separate taps.
It's nostalgia.
For pain?
Yeah, people are into that.
It's like, well, what's your kink? 2 separate taps.
Oh god, I almost forgot. The round system for drinks.
The rounds with the drinks and the pub and the... I'm glad someone mentioned this. This is a bit confusing to me.
On the surface, it's a commonly used system where everyone takes turns buying drinks for everyone else in their group, but there are a million complex subtleties.
Subtleties.
Subtleties. But there are a million complex subtleties that make it confusing and delightful.
Really? Oh man, this is why I swear, like, British pubs need to have their own, like, university course or something to explain this, its own degree, because there's so much little things to it. So within rounds, for buying drinks for everyone at the pub, there's, like, subtleties, there's little tiny rules for what? If, like, people don't want another drink, or they do, or they haven't paid for their round yet, or if they want a different drink, is it that kind of variation?
Yes, whenever you go to a culture where drinks are done in rounds, that is just enough to make you not want to ever go drinking with anyone, because it's so complex to figure out how it works.
I feel like it's just better for everyone to buy their own things.
Not to say that America...
Yeah, in America, we pretty much all the time buy our own stuff. Maybe sometimes like a pitcher of beer, and that's about it. We would not call it a round, really. But the concept's like, you go up to the bar, you buy everyone a drink, bring it back, and then the next time someone else goes up and does that? Is that the gist of it?
Does it better, but America does it better.
Okay.
In this regard.
Go down.
The idea of buying your drink just for yourself is very American in the sense that we do tend to be a little more self-serving, a little more self-centered, and just be like, take care of yourself, everyone. Take care of yourself. Don't worry about anyone else. That's very much like an American cultural thing. So it makes sense we do it that way. Whereas Brits seem to have more of a community kind of culture where you are empathizing with everyone around you. You are concerned and respectful of everyone. So it kind of reflects itself in how you purchase drinks with the round system being like this community type of system. It's actually kind of interesting to think about.
I really prefer... I think going Dutch means something different in the UK, though.
Oh.
Going Dutch literally means splitting it equally, multiple ways.
Oh, no. For us, going Dutch means everyone pays for what they got.
Yeah, and I believe in this system because it is the right way to do things.
I hate going out with people and you get the $4 draft and then they buy the $6 bottle. You know, and then they're like, hey, you want to split this down the middle? Or when you go out with someone and you only get 1 drink and they get 3 drinks and then they want to split it 50-50.
Yeah.
That's not very fair either.
Or you get 1 drink, they get 3 drinks, and they get 2 desserts.
And then...
Is this like a very American train of thought that we're getting on here? Because I would agree with them on this. That just pay for what you got. Because some people really can't afford to spend certain amounts of money, don't want to spend money, or aren't hungry, or aren't thirsty. And they should be able to control how much money they have to spend, basically. So is that just a very American way of thinking? Or do British people kind of agree with that, but Also, there's a time and a place for the whole round system to have its kind of valid place as well.
And they want you to split it 50-50.
Down the middle,
It's
yeah.
like, no. No.
That's not how fairness works in the real world! A huge thank you to our patron Tom for sharing this Twitter thread with us on our private Facebook group. If you want to know how you can become a member of our private Facebook group, you can...
Oh, I think that's the end. That is the end. Okay, there you have it. 19 British things that are weird as hell. Yes, they are. But I loved it. This was by Wandering Ravens. And I'm going to give that a like. That's very good. That was very fun to hear about. And again, it's just so funny to think about all this, because all that stuff was weird to me, but totally normal behaviors to British people. And I totally acknowledge there are so many things Americans must do that we think is normal that must be so strange to Brits and honestly everyone on the planet. It's just so fun to kind of learn about these things. Being strange, being weird, the diversity between our cultures is one of the most fun, delightful things about this world, I think. So I really enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to British culture, stuff in Britain I have never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.